I'm gonna get hooked up to the chat and all that here real quick. But I figured I'd jump on here right at 8, just a little touch before 8 o'clock, and get started. But we are going to bring a little fall into the summer. I think we're all about ready for a little fall. I don't want to rush things, but with all the heat and everything else that's been going on here for a while, then it's this time. I just think it's time for fall. After we've had a little bit of, after I was out picking pumpkins the other day, I was carrying them up, and lady next door, she was like, "Man, I could use fall right about now," because it was so hot the day I was doing it. And Pat Z, thank you. I'm gonna break away from what I was saying just for a second, Pat, because I see you in here. Thank you so much. You were the only person that gave me a suggestion, and it was such a great one. I had everything here sitting in the kitchen. I didn't have to go anywhere. I didn't have to get anything, and I thank you so much for being the one person who put in a description, made a request, and I so appreciate it. Thank you so much. I do try to be fairly as interactive with the people that watch as I can be. So thank you so much for that great suggestion. I really appreciate it. GH, what's up, buddy? How are you? Getting everything going here. But yeah, like I was, I just wish I could get some. Yeah, that'd be nice. Tom's Food Factory, what's up, buddy? How are you? Hey, yeah, but like I was saying, I think everybody's ready for just a little bit of fall. I'm not ready to rush fall, even though I'm a huge fan of Halloween. Halloween's the best holiday there is, at least one of them, that I really like, because it has the best movies. But yeah, I just thought we could all, with the heat and the storms and everything like that, I thought we could all use a little fall. And I felt like baking all week. I made bread last night and all that stuff, so I was really down to do some baking. But anyway, let's get into it a little bit. Giving a couple minutes for folks to roll in, and we'll just go by. We do the, as they say, the star of the show tonight. It's not a Griswold. It's an unmarked 16-inch round griddle. The best date that I can come up with is somewhere around 1870 to about 1895. It's gate marked. We've also, if you've watched this channel before, you've seen it. It's got the gate mark around the back. It doesn't sit flat. This side's higher by a lot than this side, but the inset heat ring does help. And one of the crazy things, I'm going to get somebody someday that's going to actually know what this thing is. But let me find this little piece on the outside. On the outside of here, if I can get a good camera shot of that, if you guys can see it, there's two nubs that sit on the outside of that. And I thought maybe that might help identify it a little bit. But I've never seen anyone. I've had it on a million different sites. I've had a lot of people look at it, and they're like, well, it's just a post-Civil War 16-inch round griddle. And I love it. This is the first piece. Hey, Fuzz, what's going on, buddy? William Hurt, what's up? How are you? Good to see you. But this was the actual first, excuse me, first piece cast iron I ever bought in 1995, Coondog Festival, Kenton, Ohio. I'll never forget it. We used it that night. It was ready to go. I got the oven heating up to 375 for the cookies. But yeah, we used it that night for deer burgers. We made deer burgers that night on this, and we made deer burgers. And then the next morning we made a big thing of eggs and scrambled eggs. This kind of a campfire, breakfast on here. Bacon, just sort of whipped it all up. And I've had this thing forever. I went through a little phase where I didn't use it for a while, but I've been using it faithfully for many years. You have over 500 subscribers. Yes, I do. Yes, finally. And I'm figuring out how to do all the other cool stuff that goes along with having 500 subscribers. And I want to thank everybody who has been subscribed, and all the folks out there that don't log into the chat that do watch every single week. And there are folks out there. I meet people here in my town that watch, And so thanks. Yeah, 500. That's a pretty big deal. So yeah, I'm pretty happy about that. So anyway, yeah, big league. Yeah, big league now. So Kenton Coon Dog Days. Fuzz, have you ever been? Because it is, people don't understand that how wild of a time the Kenton Coon Dog races were. Like, it was the national coon dog races where the people came from all over the country and brought their coon dogs and raced them, and it just happened to be about, I don't know, 6-8 miles from where I grew up. And so we went every year. My dad my dad was the only one. My dad went for years, and then once we got to be old enough to not talk about what went on there, it was kind of like what happens in Kenton stays in Kenton, because some of the wildest stuff I've ever seen in my life happened in Kenton, Ohio at the Kenton Coon Dog Trials. Yeah, it's Fuzzy is a coon dog man. Oh, I got you. Okay, very cool, very cool. Yeah, I went every year. I went every year for a lot of years. It's something else. But anyway, so let's go ahead and get started. We've been going at this for about 5-6 minutes. So let's get into making some cookies, because I feel like some cookies and milk. That's what I feel like, surprisingly enough. So I'm going to set this into the oven, and we're going to let that kind of get heated up a little bit. Warm up to 375 and get started. Got our bowl. And what we're going to start with, I'll flash the, as usual, I will flash the recipe up. And like I said, one of the viewers, Pat Z, is the one who mentioned what we should be making tonight, so we can thank her for this. But I love this recipe. I looked up a recipe from, what was it? Yummy Toddler of all things. But this was absolutely the best recipe that I found. I've never made this, but it is such a versatile recipe. I can see being able to do a gajillion different things with this recipe, lots of substitutions, and overall it was a fairly healthy recipe. And just to run down through it real quick, we got a cup of pureed pumpkin, we've got a cup of rolled oats, and the rolled oats I did run those through the food processor for just about 8 or 10 pulses with the food processor. I did do that. The reason I didn't do that on during the live stream with the food processor is the most hated piece of equipment in my kitchen is the food processor that I have. I cannot wait to find a better food processor or to come buy a food processor. Usually I just use my KitchenAid. That's why I don't make a big deal about it, and I don't break my food processor out very often. But I didn't want to get all the stuff out for the KitchenAid tonight, so I used the food processor for the 10 enduring minutes that it took me to get through using my food processor. But anyway, we'll say hi to everybody. E-Dog, what's up, buddy? Larry Perkins, good to see you. Bob the Builder, thanks. Glad you could make it. But yeah, so let me finish going through this. So we got 2 tablespoons of butter that are melted, and those I have right here. I've just been kind of setting those on the exhaust burner over there while the oven heated up. And then we're gonna have 1 egg, a teaspoon of vanilla, 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder, 1.5 teaspoons of cinnamon, half a teaspoon of pumpkin spice. I think I said, did I say a half teaspoon of cinnamon? I think I said it wrong to begin with. Let me take my glasses off so I can read this. So my glasses are for seeing, not for reading. And let's see, half teaspoon. I added a half teaspoon of nutmeg because I do that with everything. We're gonna throw a little black pepper into this at some point, and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. You can also add chips to this, chocolate chips. I wanted to, when I get to the very end, I think if I've got a little bit of cookie left over, I'm gonna throw some chocolate chip, butterscotch chocolate chips into that and see what happens. But each batch we're gonna do at 375 for about 15 minutes on that big round griddle. So let's go ahead and get started with that. we get started. They said, and I'm gonna follow this recipe. What kind of knife set is that? It's Forever Sharp. It's a fairly mid-expensive. It's kind of a in between expensive and not expensive set of knives. But I'll tell you what, I keep them sharp, and I really like them. I've had them for about 10 years, and I do have different knives. I've got some Hinkles for bread knives and stuff like that. But overall, that's done me okay. And if I break one or do anything in the if something happens to them, they're very replaceable. They still make them. But we're going to start with our 1 cup of puree, and that's the way it said to go. It said to go with everything like that. And I've already combined everything else. So I've got the white powders mixed away from the dark powders. So we don't want to have anything. Don't want to run into a Pulp Fiction incident, you know what I'm saying? Let's see who else we got. Anybody else in there? Okay, all right. So at least logged into the chat. And once again, thanks to everybody else that showed up that's out in the stratosphere tonight. And we got our oats in there. And it calls for, I don't know if I said it or not, because I think, oh yeah, and I didn't mention that it takes a 1/4 cup of honey or maple syrup, which is another cool thing I thought was neat about this recipe, because I can circumvent that honey or maple syrup. I can put molasses in that. You can do a lot of different things. I want to say, I wonder if you could actually do, along with it, if you could do corn syrup, if you have that laying around. But this seems like it's a really kind of a shelf recipe. And even like with the ground rolled oats, and I used rolled oats, which are also, if you see them, they'll be called old-fashioned oats, which are different from the quick oats, which are they're a little bit easier to bake with. They don't get soft and as mushy as a quick oat does. Set that back there. But yeah, this just seems like a really, really versatile recipe. My recipe is not as healthy. It calls for 2 sticks of butter. Jeez, oh Pete. That's awesome. That's awesome. I think that's great. 2 sticks of butter in that. 2 sticks of butter in anything is amazing. That's just if you ask me. And that's just, like I always say, if you ask. You use a bigger spatula to do this. But yeah, that's crazy. 2 sticks. That's awesome. Let's see. Just making sure. I'm just checking. That was the other thing with Sunday's episode and little debacle there toward the middle. I wasn't able to follow the chat very much, so I want to be able to kind of follow the chat. And I've got some other features coming. I don't know if I've said about it. I've got an island coming for the kitchen, so that's going to make my workspace a little better. Let's pop this egg into this. Get that egg in there. Should have whisked that egg up. There we go. It's looking good. It smells really good. I think before I forget though, I think this is where I'm gonna pop in just a little bit of black pepper, because like I always say on here, Julia, 2 sticks of butter is the Julia Child trick. That sounds like my Graham's trick too. My Graham. That's why our entire family's blood type is probably unsalted. Actually, she used salted for everything. Let's use Quaker Oats to hold my meatloaf together as a filler. Yeah, that does work great for that too. But yeah, like I said, this recipe looks, I don't really feel, there's no sugar, there's no white sugar in this at all. But like I said, there's room for raisins, chocolate chips. Got that to where it's not looking as it does. So we'll start sprinkling the white powder in here. Got our baking powder and our salt. That in there. That mixed around. There's probably a really smart way to like specifically add your stuff, but I thought about adding it into the oats, but what's the fun in that? We'll just mix it really good. Plus my arm could use a workout. I haven't been to physical therapy in a long time, so I try to take any chance I can get to work this shoulder, keep it loosened up. I take it. Let's see here. Let's check this. Pecans, maybe. Yeah, you can do. That's the thing, man. Yeah, pepper makes it pop. That's what Grandma always said. And actually, now that I've got it kind of mixed in, I'm going to add just a little bit more. And you don't even have to see it. Yeah, pecans. You can put anything you want into here. I even thought about like pistachios. I thought pistachios would be really good. All that kind of stuff. Walnuts. I mean, you can, the list is, that's why I said this recipe is definitely going into the box. And I really appreciate Pat making this suggestion, because it was a good one. And like I said, I'm all for doing other people's recipes and taking suggestions. Kind of like a street musician. I take requests. So, because sometimes it's when you've cooked for yourself and your family for 20 some years, you tend to get in ruts and you start to eat the same things. And so it's nice when somebody says, "Hey, could you make this?" And then you're like, "Yeah, I think I could make that. Make whatever I can make whatever you want." And this was a great one. And I would have never thought to make this. Initially I was going to make pumpkin bread or pumpkin muffins. But I think I like this a little bit more. Put that in there, put this into there. There you go. I'm going to stir with that bigger one. Oh, and then we're going to got to put the brown powder on. So we'll put that in there. And I added and like with this, they didn't call for extra nutmeg, but I think this crowd, and just about anybody else that's kind of a foodie, is pretty, unless they're absolutely deathly allergic to it, loves some extra nutmeg in any of their stuff, especially fall stuff. You can't go wrong with a little bit of extra. Man, that smells really good. And it's pretty much, we're going to let it, we're going to mix this up really, really, really well. And I might even pop it into the freezer for a couple minutes so it's easier to ball up. Because I didn't see it in the recipe. And that was the thing, I was milling around a lot of recipes, so when I looked at this, I sort of started looking at this morning, or last night or this morning, either way. But I didn't see much about putting it in the refrigerator for a second, but I think I'm going to. Val, let's go. A pinch of allspice and mace. Ooh, I can't wait for the wedding. Yeah, I bet both of us can though. I think we've both done that before. Yeah, let's get that good and all that stuff good and in there. But let me double check my recipe so I can make sure. Oh, I almost did. I almost forgot the vanilla. Sometimes when things are so easy, I forget. Let's see, and a teaspoon of the vanilla. But I thought coconut would be good in this. I was thinking, I had tons of ideas for this, but I wanted to just have the party. Yeah, exactly. I'm more of a reception guy, anyway. There we go. Way more of a reception guy than I am a wedding guy. Every time I go to weddings, I feel like I'm going to come out married. kind of gives me the heebie-jeebies. So I try not to. I usually, to weddings, I show up fashionably late, so I don't have to go to that part if I don't really have to. Registry at Lodge, yeah. You know, I was thinking about that too, Greg. I think one day, when I don't do a cooking show, and I have this, I've been working on the garage, but I think what I want to do is I want to break out my entire Lodge set and kind of line it up and go through it, because I was looking at some of the Lodge the other day. I was looking, I forget what I was looking for, and I was trying to find something, and I noticed after I'd looked through, kind of browsed the website, and I've got a couple of their catalogs from recent years and things like that, and I'm on their mailing list. I have everything. There's like nothing that I don't have or I haven't bought for my kids. Like I honest to goodness, except for a couple of their enamel wares, like enamel Dutch ovens and things like that, and some of their round Dutch ovens in the different colors, like to break out a basic set of Lodge, there isn't anything I don't have. Like I have a 3 through 17, I have lids for almost everything but I think a 12, and then Dutch ovens, several of their enamel Dutch ovens, several of their cast iron Dutch ovens. I even have the smoker thing that goes onto their Sportsman to use in your grill for smoking. I've got their smash burger, the meat presses. I mean, I just can't think of anything over there. Like I'm sitting here looking at now, fajita pans, the fajita bottoms, square skillets, breakfast skillets. Let's see, I'm here, it's been a trip. Oh, Handsome Stone, good to see you. Paper egg crates for packaging. Let's use paper. I saved mine. I do save mine. I actually moved about I'd say about 6 or 8 cartons out of my kitchen today to make room, because I save them for packaging, and I save them. Ming has chickens, and I've been piling them up. She hasn't been home for a while. She's been out into the real world trying to find some employment, and I think that she has landed a spot. I don't want to jinx her, but I think she's landed a spot in an extra. There's a restaurant in a town adjacent to where she lives, where I think they're going to let her start baking and doing their coffee. A little spot in their place. It's a small restaurant, but I think she's going to start doing that. Boss Obi-Wan, what's up, buddy? How are you? And even though we've hit 500, I'm not going to get off. I'm not going to get off the please subscribe and hit the like button if you possibly can, and would like to come back and see more, because there's goals. There's goals. I would like to get to 1,000. Because after 1,000, that's when you get the chicks. Let's see. I might look at that paper or styrofoam. Yeah, I do save those for that. Let me see here. But yeah, let me throw this in the freezer right quick for just a second. And we'll let that chill up for a minute, and we'll get the, and I'm not going to leave it in there for any amount of time. I'm just going to let that bowl cool off, because I do have the air and the fans on today, but it's still probably in the mid 70s in here with the 375 degree oven roaring around. Let's see, get that set up, get ourselves a trivet. Let's see, bar or drop cookies. We're going to do drop cookies for these. And I spy out of my little eye, out of the corner of my eye, my neighbors have their grandkids over, and their kids over. I live on a street where a lot of relatives, people are related, so it's and they're super nice people, and their kids are awesome, kids and grandkids. So my extras, I don't want to eat. I think this makes a solid 12 or a solid dozen. So I'm not gonna eat all these. I just want a couple for maybe one or two tonight, and a couple for breakfast. Because these are actually they're kind of one of those things. It's almost like a Kind bar in a way. They're pretty close. Let's see. Benoqua, how are you? Benoa, okay. What's up, buddy? How are you? Good to see you. Is that Ukraine? I think it almost looks Ukrainian or Russian. But I don't want to get into all that. I don't want to get in the middle of that. Cast iron cure and copycats too. So do we like them? Soft side. Hard pucks. Do we have seasoning rags that absorb enough oil? You know what I use? A lot of times, man, I used to use, and I just happen to have them right here. One right here. I use these. I use these dust cloths. These cotton dust cloths. That's exactly what I use. I used to use bandanas for years and years and years, but they've started to make bandanas. They're not 100% cotton, and I get these. I think I get these at like Walmart or somewhere, or Meijer. And I get them in a big stack. But it's like tea cloth. It's all 100% cotton, and this is exactly what I use. Or I use the blue shop towels. If I'm seasoning, I use blue shop towels, and I also save like old T-shirts, or if I cut the sleeves off, I save the sleeves, all that kind of stuff. That's exactly what I need. Yeah, it needs to be full cotton. It needs to be full cotton. And if you're like me, I'm kind of particular about the shirts I buy, even though I dress like, I dress like I just got off work usually. But I'm pretty particular about my stuff. I usually try to go tagless shirts that are 100% cotton. But these are 100% cotton, and look for that. And these are super cheap. I think I get like 6 or 8 of them, like the last time I bought, and I buy in bulk with everything, almost. And I think I got these came out to be like $3 a pack. And I've had these, last time I bought any was like 3 or 4 years ago. So it's probably went up a little bit since then. But that's what I use. And I have great luck with it. Let's see. Lake Hickory guy, what's going on, buddy? You missed me mixing up the stuff. I'm about ready to pull the 16-inch unmarked, extremely old, so old nobody knows how old it is, round griddle out of the oven, and we're going to start dropping cookies. Because I'm kind of in a cookie mood. I went out to the dairy today. Oh, and speaking of the dairy, so I go out to this dairy and I get all my milk, my yogurt, and occasionally some eggs and some meat. And so the guy in there, he's working, and it's a family-run business. And I was telling him about how I give shout-outs on the show, and I've been making yogurt bread. Well, I've been making yogurt bread anyway. And so I was using the yogurt they make to make bread. And he said, well, what's the name of your YouTube channel? I said, well, it's a cast iron channel and all this. So he says, well, I love cast iron. He said, you wouldn't believe what I have. And he's going to bring it out the next time I go out next week and pick up more milk and yogurt. And he got an enameled Pickwa Favorite number 8, one of the blue ones. And I've never seen one in person, in real life. And he's going to bring one out, and I'm going to see if I can't finagle a way to get him to let me make a meal. He said he uses it like every 3 to 4 times a week. So I think I'm going to try and see if he'll let me borrow it for a show, and we'll make a couple things with it, and maybe bring it in to show you guys, because I don't have one. I would love to have one, but I do not. And but yeah, I think that'd be really fun. We're going to use a little baking spray, because I've never done this recipe before, so I want to be. Normally, I wouldn't use anything on this. I normally wouldn't do that, but yeah, but bandanas get stuck because a lot of times they're just a little bit. Sometimes they're like a 15% polyester or something else, and they don't quite do it. And I will tell you, like, I've used, I tried one time, I didn't have any rags handy, and I grabbed one of those fuzzy lint-free rags to do my lodge griddle that I use all the time. You guys see me use, that I use for eggs, and I put that on there, and it melted to it, and I had to completely strip down my entire griddle to get it. I had to just all the way, just start from scratch to do that. So there we go. I want these to brown up. That stuff came out pretty. That came out a lot. That might be the X-ray. That might be the X-rated canister of that stuff. But I do like this brand. What is this? I don't think I can. Latour L'Orangiel. But I like this stuff. I get it every time. I'm probably saying it wrong. My Julia Child is not very good. And I never took it in high school. Along with any other foreign language. But I never took it in high school. You can season and bake at the same time. Yeah, exactly. But I never have much, I never have any problem with anything sticking to this. So now that I've said that, this is all going to stick to it. But so far, so good. I have not had too much. I've never had bad luck working with this. Let me move the Ace Frehley pan out of the way, as I got the blue streak out. Whoa! I don't want the lid on all the way. Teresa, how are you? Good to see you. Just in time for the magic to happen. I also thought about doing it on smaller ones, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. Yeah, and like I said, we've got Beegs is not fond of cookies. I don't know if the Beegs can eat these. She might have to. I might have to do a little Googling to see if she can have any of these, because there's a lot of stuff that I'm not used to cooking with too often and giving her. Plus, she got like 3 pounds of beef liver snacks yesterday when I was at the butcher. So the beak should be pretty cool. So we'll do, it said 2 tablespoon size pieces. So, I don't know. That looks a lot more than 2 tablespoons. But I want to have decent sized cookies too. I'd say that's about 2 tablespoons. We'll put some bigger ones on here and see how they go. That's a little too much, but there we go. I like that. I'm just going to go with the old-fashioned way I do it, the normal way I do it, which is 1 of my tablespoons. That's usually what I rock. Just taste that batter. That should be, this flavor should be its own ice cream flavor. I'm telling you, this is really, really, really good. Once again, throwing it out there to Pat Z for this recipe idea, because it is definitely, I really think this is going to be worth it. Because so far, so good. Give these room to smash them down just a little bit. Tap down some. Oh, it kind of looks a little weird. And they're homemade cookies, so they don't have to be perfect. If I want it perfect, I go to a bakery, right? And we'll throw one there in the middle. What would be really good is some cream cheese frosting for these. But don't tempt me, or I will break out the cream cheese. If I'd have thought of that. Maybe we will get another griddle. Maybe we'll get one of the other griddles out. And we'll throw those on there. But we'll see how these first ones do. But yeah, Pat Z, such a great idea for the for this whole thing. Thanks again. Toss them on this. Toss them side hearts too. Oh yeah, yeah. I've never seen. Does anybody? Val, give that a try. See if I can see it on my end. I don't know if I can see it on my end or not. I've never asked anybody to do that before. So we'll see if that can happen. Yeah, you'll never see these cookies with bacon, or at the bakery. No, you won't. So let's put them in there, and I'll set my timer for 15 minutes. It's funny when recipes say 14 to 16 minutes. I don't know why they just don't say 15 minutes and then check them. But I really don't know why they don't do that. But yeah, I'm gonna grab another. Speaking of that griddle that I was just speaking of that I had to redo, let's get that out. Put some on here and get that going. Get some going on that lodge. Oh yeah, no timer. Gotta set that timer. There we go. Let's see. It's interacting with the content. Good for the algorithm. Yeah, did anybody try and hit the heart thing yet? The little things on the side? To see if I can see them. Because that would be pretty neat. I've never seen that on my show. But I have it locked. I don't know, my monitor's kind of small. I'm barely getting the comments in on my monitor, so if it doesn't, it doesn't. Let's actually try something different. Let's try something different than that. I am doing it. Okay, so that's not, I can't see it on my end. All right. That must be for you guys out there. But yeah, let's try something a little more fun than this one. I do love this one, but this is kind of my egg. What I like to do for my eggs. So let's break out this Smithy and see how it does. Let's break out a Smithy. Give this a little love. I do like this pan. Thank you so much, GH, for sending that my way. I'm gonna pop that in there. We're gonna heat that up for just a couple minutes. Get it kind of warm, because it's sort of cold. I'm doing, let's see, Smithy. Well, they're not. You know, I think a lot of times, Huey, and definitely not to degrade your restoration ability, because your restoration's great. I just don't think they're made to look like that. You know what I mean? I just don't think they just right off the rip, man. I think it's kind of like a stargazer. You know, certain stargazers, certain years they made stargazers, it takes a while to break them in. I don't have any problem with my Smithy, I want to say it, like, sticking or anything like that. It just doesn't, like, look, it's hard to get that black or gold. In my case, using cast iron cure. Speaking of cast iron cure, go to eBay, pick up some of my cast iron cure, my cast iron seasoning and conditioner. Works great. No smoke, virtually no smoke, and the great part about it is it gets free shipping, and it smells great when you're doing your seasoning as well. Anyway, yeah, and it just, you know, I just don't know if they're 100% like, you know, because my stargazer, I've had my stargazer I bought 5 years ago, a little over 5 years, working on 6 years ago. And just until the last 2 years, like the last year or two, it's actually started to look like one of my other skillets. You know what I mean? Yeah, but it's not a Smithy. That's the thing. You know what I mean? I get what you're saying, and it's nothing against how you season or what you use or any of that. It's just different, and you know, it's just. I personally prefer, you know, textured cast iron over smooth cast iron. And I mean, that's why I tell people all the time, don't make your cast iron so smooth that it shines back, because it won't work as good as the older stuff. But I've also had no complaints with my Smithy that I've had so far. And I only have one, and it's a griddle. So I use my griddle for what I use my griddle for. But, you know, that you know, that just is what that is. And I tell you, it's I could just eat this dough like by itself. That is incredible. That dough is incredible. I mean, it honestly is. Okay, but I think we've knocked the chill off that. Speaking of that, Smithy, I think we've knocked the chill off of it enough. Yeah, I don't either. I don't have any trouble with mine either. But Val, when you get into vintage cast iron, it doesn't matter how smooth it is. Once you get it down to brass tacks, once you get everything off of it, it's still got a little bit of texture. I've always said that, and I'm going to die on that hill. It's always got a little bit of texture to it, and it makes it easier. Even if it seems smooth as glass, it's always got that little bit of texture from that different kind of iron. It's just iron was different. It was, you know, just a lot of pig iron. It was fresh iron. It hadn't been used for anything else. And I think there's a lot. I think there's a lot to be said for that. Let's see. I felt like a record every time. Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. I mean, this is. I don't know if you guys can see it all that great, but this is splotchy. It's got some different spots to it, but it all cooks. It cooks super even. I don't have problems with anything sticking to it. I mean, no more than any other cast iron stuff does. I mean, you know, we all know the deal. Some, you know, you cook all day on something with cast iron, you're going to get stick. You're going to get pieces. If it wasn't for those pieces and that little bit of stuff that stuck, they would have never invented great gravy. Because I mean, if it wasn't for cracklings, you wouldn't have great gravy. And I'll die on that hill too. I need another timer. There we go. That should be sufficient. We'll see how it does with some cookies. Put one here. I don't think we're not going to overcrowd, but we'll put those in there. Just tap them down a little bit. Give them the old taparoo, the old tap. Need a different timer that I do not have. I just have the timer on my stove. And I don't want to add one to my phone, or I'm afraid. I've never tried to do that. I'm afraid it's going to come in, and when I hit off, it's going to turn off the stuff, off the live stream. Okay, take that, and I'm going to throw that in there right now in 8 minutes. All right. Amen, Huey. Nest pans have nice swirls. So you want to use a whetstone to smooth your cast iron to give it a touch of texture. No, I've never done that. But what I have seen people do, Val, and I've never tried it myself, but I've heard of people doing this. I've heard of people letting their cast irons rust up a little bit, and then restoring it and letting that, how it leaves that little bit of rust, how it kind of gives it some texture after rust. And I've heard of people doing that. That was actually on my one video about smoothing cast iron, one of my first videos I ever did. Somebody left that in the comments section. I've never tried it because I've never been in a situation to need to try that yet, but I've heard of people doing that. So yeah. But yeah, once again, if you guys, we got a big crowd tonight, so if people could please subscribe to the channel and hit the like button, that would be awesome. Let's get some of this scraped up. I'll use the big one. But I've heard, yeah, I mean, and the guy that is in my comment section, and the way to do it is actually in the comment section of that video. It's probably like second, third, fourth video ever, and go to my videos, not my lives. And then the whole way, the guy puts a whole paragraph in there of how he does that. So, you know, there's that. They use grinding stones. There you go. There's a guy who let his Smithy rust on the outside 2 weeks, and it did awesome. Yeah, see, I like I said, I've never had the occasion to try and do it, but there's folks out there that do it. So, I mean, maybe, you know, I don't want to say fact, you know, fact or fiction, because I really don't know. I've never tried it. I've never messed with it. So, you know. Let's see. Don't forget to show the love. Yeah. Thank you so much, Val. Thank you so much. Really has no use for a $300 skillet. Yeah, I just have them because it's fun. You know what I mean? And I mean, if you're really after something, sometimes you gotta open the wallet. You know what I mean? That's why my rack's the way it is. I've opened my wallet way too many times over the years. I've learned to be a little more. Restrained, I should say, and all that. But yeah, I mean, it's fun. You know, I mean, I just hope. I had to do that. My daughter asked me to get her one of my daughters, because I have umpteen daughters I have like the Waltons. It's like the Waltons around my house. Yeah, good iron does inspire you to cook more, Larry, 100%. But you know, I asked her what she's been eating for her kitchen, and she said, I don't know. And I said, well, what about a Dutch oven? And you know, I was sitting there shopping Le Creuset last night for her to have in her new kitchen. So yeah, Fuzz, I 100% get that. But I mean, by and large, it's pretty fun. You know, that's why I have so many Lodge pans. It's kind of fun when they put a buffalo on the back of it. Let's see, I'm down to about 3 minutes on that first round. I don't want to overcrowd my space, or I just throw another one in there and we'd be done with it. Yeah, Lancaster is the one. Yeah, Huey, I think to be honest with you, I'd really like to get my hands on some Lancaster and Field. Yeti, when I look at Yeti, I look at a rip-off of Wapak Indian heads. That's all I ever see. Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry I got off track, but because I'm reading and talking at the same time. But yeah, when I think of Yeti, I just think of a rip-off handle of an Indian head, and it just, I don't know. That's just something that I didn't ever want to go with. But a Lancaster is something I've wanted since they came out, and I still don't have one of those. And which one was it? Wasn't it Lancaster or was it Field that was making the 4s, or both? Yeah, I love the look of the Lancaster pan too. That looks like, you know, that's some 1920s Wagner. I mean, that looks really cool. Lancaster? Okay, roger that. Thicker base and actually lowered the price. Yeah, but they've never said where it's made. I mean, is you know, maybe they're making it in America, but I mean, is Butter Pat still making it? I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Man, it smells incredible in here. I cannot wait to get these out. Actually, let's get a glass of milk out, because I'm gonna need a glass of milk for all this. And I want to get a dipping glass out too. So don't make fun of my Lord of the Rings Um, my Lord of the Rings cup, because it's perfect for dipping cookies in. Get some of this milk I got from the dairy today. I haven't even opened it yet. I don't know if you guys can see that. Can you see how the cream is starting to form up on the top of that? This is the best milk ever. I don't even like to shake it because I like to get the cream right off the top of that. Let's see. Not a whole lot. I'm not gonna have a bunch of cookies. I'm just gonna have like maybe 2 or whatever. And by the way, if you do want a really nice cookie dipping glass, the Lord of the Rings Burger King glasses they're the bomb for that, 100%. I think this is the Gandalf one. I don't know. that's the kind of nerd I am. So anyway, make room here. I'm gonna pull this first one out. I think we're gonna check it, see how it did in there, because it's saying 15, but it said 16, and I did open it up once, so they might need a second. I don't know. Let's pull them out and take a look. Let's see how these look. 'Cause they smell done. One of my best friends nearly stepped on Elijah Wood's kids in Las Vegas last week. Really? That's a good story. That's a really funny story, actually. Okay. All right, let's take these out. I think these last couple. Oh, ow! There we go. That's why I need a bigger. I need to get some bigger. Need to get some bigger trivets. Let's see, Linda. Hello, Linda. How are you? Good to see you. Let's see, move that camera around just a little bit. See how these are. I don't know. I think they could use they could use to be on that trivet a little better. Well, they could use. It's no stick. Let's see what the bottom looks like. We can always throw these back in there. Dang it. On one side. Let me get an oven mitt before I burn the tips of my fingers off. There we go. Yeah, I think that's. Hey, look, that's done. They're done. They're done. But you need a large 10 by 15 cookie sheet. Yeah, but I got this thing. That's the one thing the Lodge I don't have. Oh, and Val was saying something about parchment paper. I am going to cool these off on parchment paper, though. Yeah, that's the one thing, Fuzz, actually, I don't think that I've looked at and I could get. I mean, they have them at like my local Walmart, and I could get one all the time, and that's the one thing I don't know if I have to have or not. We'll set these off. They look really good. With these cool. And I've had this cookie sheet there in front of the fan, so it's pretty cool. Cold blast sometimes need an extra 4 minutes. See, now I gotta figure out how long the other ones have been in there. 8. So they need another 7 minutes. Probably 7 minutes. Usually at least 7. So I'll set my timer for 7 minutes. There we go. And go on, Beagle. This is kind of on an unstable thing, and I don't want to have to try and catch it. Chewy has a sweet, I see a cookie sheet. ST. Oh, cookie sheet too. Home baked goodness right there, right before your eyes. Yeah. These are definitely, I might mix in, I think I'm going to mix into this, which you guys, before you, Beagle, you got to go, kid. You got to roll off somewhere else. Just for a minute. I got a couple butterscotch morsels over here. And see, this is what I'm dealing with. Right there. I got a camera stand and a Beagle right there under my feet. Waiting for something. And I just don't know if she can have any of that. It's a little behind the scenes. Let's see, add a couple of these. Don't need a bunch. There you go. Just a little bit. And you can't have butterscotch either. Get Beagle, go. Go, go, go. Go, Gadget. Yeah, she doesn't know what to think. But I know that, I know dogs can have pumpkin. It's just this, the other stuff in there. The nutmeg, I gotta look it up and see if she can work that into her. She doesn't think so, but she has a delicate system. She thinks she can eat whatever. My carpet cleaner and the rug doc and the floor doctor will argue that fact all the way. They'll argue that fact with that dog any day of the week. He's folded into there. Yeah. Drop those onto there. Because the other ones have about 5. We'll see how those first ones held up. And like I said, this is a rookie recipe for me because I've never made it. But I'm willing to, like everything else, I'm willing to try everything. That's why I said, if you guys have stuff you want me to try, the email is in the bio. You can email me recipes and we'll try them out. I know Val sent me one for ginger snap cookies that once the weather's a little bit different, we will be, now that it's getting to be fall. And I've kind of been waiting until Ming came. I was thinking that Ming was going to be back a lot sooner than later. This thing is rattling over here on this. That is really getting under my skin. There we go. I was just on the heat ring, I think. And, but yeah, there's recipes. And even Chef Egan that shows up from Ireland, I suggested to him, and I meant it, I wasn't being facetious, when he was talking about his chicken parm recipe. I would definitely like to try other recipes, so I'm down for that. So let's put the last of those in there. There, now that I got that on that trivet a little better. Shape that up, scrape that off, and go for the next round. Man, this dough is good. It reminds me of, like, if you've ever had pumpkin ice cream. That's what it reminds me of. Pumpkin ice cream. I'm not afraid of raw egg either. Okay. Let's move that back over there. That's what we had left. So that made, how many did it make so far? So I've got 6, 10, 13. So I did them about the size that the recipe called for. So I'll take that. I maybe not have done the shape. This one here in the back, that kind of looks like the Millennium Falcon. That sort of looks like, it kind of looks like Ireland. I don't know what that one looks like. Vanilla ice cream. Yeah, I'll tell you what, this milk I have is so sweet, it's going to be like vanilla ice cream. It is going to be absolutely perfect. It's going to be perfect. Beagle, hot oven. Watch out. Hit the bricks, kid. I want to make that cake they're making using a pint of ice cream. Oh my God. I think I know. I think I've seen that. I'll have to relook it up, but I think I've seen what you're talking about, Huey. For sure. We'll see how that Smithy does. We're gonna bring these other cookies back over here for a second, so we're not just staring at that trivet. And for those that don't know, that is not an eagle. That's a dove. But I always think it's an eagle too. Let's see. Oh yeah, keeping that cool. Keeping that this baking sheet on a over there in front of the fan was a good idea. Plus, I lowered the temperature in here by about 5 degrees too. Let's give this night. This one looks pretty good. That one looks like my kind of cookie. Yeah, that's not bad. I mean, they need to set up, and they might have been able to sit in there for another minute. But yeah, I'm not complaining. Those are good. I might actually even throw them back in. I mean, they're not set up. I don't know. They got a good brown on the bottom though. So let's see how the other ones look on the bottom. Yeah, I'd say that's what they are. Maybe make them thinner, but there's a pretty small one. Plus they haven't set up, so I should say. I guess I'll know more Sunday. They were really good. Really, really good. I definitely I almost would have went to 400 with them, I think. But I also probably should have let them sit for a minute. Well, I missed what Larry said. Well, if you want to break a piece of the cookie, there's no, yeah. Yeah, if you want to break off a piece of cookie, there's no calories. Yeah, exactly. Oh, that milk's so good. The milk is delicious. See how the Smithy ones did. Man, I said I was gonna have two. I think I've already had two, and they're already. And those are really good. With a muffin mix and left it color. Let's see. All over my. Did that with a muffin mix and it left colors all over my Pooh and Mickey pants. Oh yeah. I've got another pumpkin recipe though that I want to try out for with the cream cheese center. Oh my gosh! I saw when I was looking for recipes today. I saw this one or that one, and I'm telling you what, I'm gonna make that one. But the crazy part of that one is that it takes literally like 3 days for them to set up. The ones I want to do, 4 days to set up. 3 to 4 days is what it says. So it'd have to be something I make on during a lot. And I want to use the I've got the Lodge skull pans, and I want to use the skull pans for that. There we go. Let's see here. So you stick on the bottom. So yeah, there we go. Those look good. Yeah, maybe thinner. There we go. But it's a chewy cookie too. So yeah, I looked at Val. I looked at that today too. I looked at because I thought about making pumpkin bars, but I don't know if I mentioned it. Yeah, with graham cracker crust on the bottom. That looks really good too. Like really good. Yeah, it's pretty good. Man, hot cookies. Yeah, those are super good. Yeah, I like that. That Smithy did really good. Yeah, nice and crispy on the bottom. Yeah, these are going to be. They're just going to need time to. They're going to need time to set up a little bit, but and they need to be dipped in more milk too. Let's see. What did they go and make them be number one for? Pumpkin pancakes. You know, Greg, I've thought about that. I have pumpkin puree left over, and I'm thinking Sunday is going to be bacon and pumpkin pancakes. But man, say that 5 times fast. Jeez, Pete's, that's a tough one. And the cheese melts. Oh, okay. Yeah, that wouldn't be bad. What do you mean you have 250 XP points? Wow. I don't know what it. I just still don't know what those are. I know what it means when it says, like if you commented the most or whatever, the most recent. But I don't know what the XP points are. So if anybody knows what those are, just leave that in the comment section, because I'm interested to know what they are too. These other ones have about 9 minutes. So we'll do a little Beaks cam, I guess. Give her something to do, because she's sitting here being patient. She's sitting here, and she knows. See, she knows I'm talking about her. She knows when I swing the camera, she's figured it out. Something good's about to happen for her. Yeah, you and your indestructible rope that you got. I don't want your rope. Okay, let's do it. How about some liver? You want some liver? Sit. There you go. You sit and wait on your liver, and I'll get you some liver, and we'll do that. Let's see. Let me see what the comments are saying. Yeah, something else to look. Yeah, I have no idea what they are. I know what the 1, 2, 3 is, but I don't know why the rest of that's there. It doesn't really. I've never looked into it. But we'll see see how that goes. Like I said, there's got to be something to it. There you go. Oh, I didn't even have to tell her to spin. She's got this down. If I can just get her to learn her. I thought by putting that rug there that it might help her to stay like in the view, so I don't have to keep moving the camera down every time because the more treats she gets, the closer she thinks she has to get. Renee, how are you? Good to see you. We're just playing with the dog while the other ones are getting ready, while the last of the cookies are getting done. Oh, how long have we been doing this? And I will tell you one thing: if you're wondering about the sweetness of it, they're not an overly sweet cookie, and that's why I think it's kind of cool. Like I said, I got this recipe from Yummy Toddler. So if you're looking for recipes that are like lower in sugar for yourself, or like making for the kids and you don't want to get them too sugared up, that's a lot of really cool recipes on that site. And I'm really going to explore that, because sometimes you just don't want it. Sometimes it's nice, it's one thing to want to have that much sugar, but sometimes you want to make the snack and that's sweet, that just doesn't have all that kind of sugar in it. Can you sit? All right, what about shake? Can you shake? Thanks. You seem a little iffy about it. Are you sure? Okay. She loves these little liver things. I get these from the butcher, and it's just liver, smoked liver, just sliced up real thin. She loves it. Here we go. Can you speak? Can you speak? Speak? Speak. There you go. Good job. One of my favorites is a ginger snap cookie that doesn't quite make it to the snap. I'll put a few dozen back if I could. You know, that's what if my memory serves me right, that's what Val sent me, was a ginger snap recipe, and I'm pretty stoked about that because, like you, Handsome Stone, I am definitely down for some ginger snaps. There you go. Let's see. I think we can do a little more. So we're going on it. We're going on a little walk here. We're doing a late night walk since it was so hot tonight. You know, a little more. There you go. Everybody's all about the spin. Thank you, Renee. She is on here, but normally she's just a handful. Aren't you? I'm gonna give you a second to let that kind of chill out. Can you shake for me a little bit? What else can you do? Can you go down? Can you go down? Down, down, down. Down, down, down. Down, down, down. Yeah, it's close enough. There you go. Good job. Isabella, how are you? Good to see you. Yeah, she's one of those dogs that's rat terriers are super they're super busy, so she has a lot. She needs to be entertained a lot. That's why she knows these tricks, because she has to be entertained all the time. Thank you so much. She is a pretty dog. She knows it too. Let's see. They snap. However, if you put them in a Ziploc bag, they soften. All because all the baking soda. Is that baking soda in? She's a cam girl. Yeah, she is a cam girl. Who's getting her own t-shirts made? We're gonna make a small run of t-shirts. I'm gonna get some big scam t-shirts. All right, we got about 2 left. Oh, brown sugar. I got you. Roger that. Yeah, that's enough. I think that's about enough. We've done pretty good on that. Maybe I'll save this one last piece. You've had a lot. That's a lot all at one time. Like I said, she'll sit down and eat anything, but my carpet cleaner will verify that she has a sensitive belly. But I did change her food, and she hasn't had any problems with it since I switched her food over. So that's pretty good. Here, go back. Can you speak? Can you speak? Can you speak? Just a little bit. Can you speak? Speak. There you go. All right. Good job. You're all right. Let me wash my hands. Cross contamination with liver treats, especially real liver. And you have to keep them. I keep them in the freezer. I have to keep them refrigerated because they're actually real liver. So I don't mind her eating those. But she can have too much keto. Too much ketos. There we go. All right. Back over here. Oh, milk's good. Like Wolfman. Where's my cookie? Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. All right. Back over here. So we ended up, I said we had 13. So we ended up with a half dozen here. And then, how many's in there? 3, 4? There's 4 more. So I'll end up with an even 10. So yeah, I've had 3 so far. Yeah, I don't know. Does anybody know if they can dogs have cinnamon, nutmeg, stuff like that? I don't know. Going to post the recipe. Val, I did post the recipe. I did a big thing right here. I'll show it to you. Right here. There's the recipe. Oh, my big ass thumbs are in the way. There we go. Can you see it? $3.75. and 15 minutes. I think they could go just a little bit longer than 15 minutes though. But that's just, yep, thank you. Yeah, no problem. Because I'm really bad at, you know, I'm sort of, if I say that I'm going to go back and write it down like in the post section or whatever, and then I don't, then I'm like, you know, that's why I usually try to just flash these up there. I know that it's probably the best thing to do is to probably post those up and do that, but I mean, I'm just never, I don't know. I mean, if I sat down on the computer and did them, it'd be a little bit easier. But man, I'm pretty stoked. Yeah, I'm really stoked to see what these, with that little bit of butterscotch in there, is going to be like. But I also don't want to eat any more than that because it's 77 degrees on my back patio with a light breeze, and I really feel like a Budweiser, to be really honest. Take the dog out and take her out to the patio and let her sort of hang out. Well, yeah, let's check this out. So, as far as like the Smithy goes, I didn't get any stick, and it comes. I mean, it just a little bit of scraping off with a wooden spatula. And if you're out there and you're new to cast iron, do yourself a favor, get yourself wooden stuff. If you're new to enameled cast iron, get yourself some wooden utensils. Don't use metal on your enamel. Though I use metal on my cast iron though all the time. But I do that on my Lodge. I do it on my Lodge to smooth it down just like I did in the video. And we'll wipe that off. And yeah, that's not stick. I mean, it just kind of, you know, just resin. There's a lot of difference between stick and residue, I would say. A lot of difference between stick and residue. I could actually, I mean, I'm pretty cool with throwing, kind of putting a little bit of oil on this and just throwing it back up on the shelf, to be really honest. There we go. Yeah, but it's ready to go. It's ready. I mean, it's ready for an egg, 100%. Yeah, if you guys can see that, all right. All right, let me back this up just a minute and move these out of the way, because I'm going to have to break out that the old big iron again. There, big old Bertha. Let's see. Mercy B! Did I miss out? You're here for the unveil of the last ones. I will say that. And these I added the butterscotch morsels to. There we go. Yeah, I like that. Those smell really good too. I'm gonna move that glass so I don't end up overheating that glass. Can you guys see those okay? Sorry. There we go. But yeah, those look pretty good. I'll take that. You got a little gooey. I'll take gooey though. But yeah, Mercy B showed up. That very, very, very cool. I don't know if I'm gonna try these out or not, because I kind of want them with the chips to sort of chill out in there. Boy, that's one hot griddle. There we go. One hot griddle. There we go. There we are. Yeah, that last one. Did I leave any on there? No. But the last one sort of, get you over this way. The last one sort of, that was the leftover cookie. So, yeah, these are almost like, it's not a Kind bar, it's the other real popular, like, what are they? It's not the Kind bars. I'm trying to think of what the other energy bars are, but that's what the kind of the consistency and the look reminds me of. I could probably shape them out a little better, but Mercy, is mom doing okay? Yeah, let's hope so. And I've been in a hurry on the last couple live streams, but I am gonna give some positive vibes out to my friend Gino. Gino's he's kind of he's responding to some things and not doing so great on others. So we could all give a shout out to Gino and some positive vibes his way. He could definitely use them for sure. So let's see. Say hi to Rick for me. Yeah, everybody. If Rick's having a hard time, then definitely keep him in your thoughts and prayers and all those things for sure. Let's see, I'll move this back in. I'll set this back into the oven. I ain't gonna hurt it. Be back there for a minute or two. I'd like to bend that bail on that griddle one of these days, so it's not so uneven. But I'm always afraid to mess with it because I'm afraid that I don't know how long that bail's been on there, considering how old that griddle is, and I'd feel pretty bad if I snap that off. You guys see those okay? Yeah, you got a good shot of those. But yeah, I really like these. I'm trying to think what that other bar is that Ming gets, that she gets the peanut butter one. But yeah, that's what they remind me of, especially their texture. Let's see how they're doing now they've sat. Yeah, it's different, I'll say that. Yeah. Yeah, they haven't sat, so, you know, whatever. And we're trying them out. But so far, I like the flavor profile of them. And, you know, they may need some tweaking with the baking time. These were a little bit thinner, and these seem to be, they may have to pat those down. The chocolate kind of, or the butterscotch kind of fell to the bottom on that one. But that's the good part too. But yeah, overall, I mean, the bottoms came out nice. Put them up in the light a little better there. But yeah, I just think I should have maybe done them a little bit thinner. But overall, yeah, it's like a multi-grain bar. It's kind of like that, but there's a brand. Yeah, Val, here's what I did. It said you could use honey or maple syrup, a 1/4 cup. So, and I think that, yeah, it's on the recipe. And I went with, I had about 1/8 of a cup of honey in the house. And so I just did the rest of it with maple syrup, to be totally transparent. That's how I did it. And you know, that's the thing. I think it could have used a little bit of that, of allspice. That could have been, but like I said, I've never tried the recipe before, so I didn't want to go outside of the box too much with it. Yeah, but you're not the maple syrup badger. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I've had this thing of honey in the bears. Ming got one of those honey bears. And so I've been using that up as much as possible, and it was like the last little bit that was in it. So now I can go get, around here we get what's called Nate's. It's a brand called Nate's Nectar Honey. That's online as well. That's where I get my beeswax. Some of my beeswax with a cast iron cure, but they have the best honey I've ever had in my life. And I've been trying to use up that other one, so I have an excuse to go and spend the money on Cliff Bar. That's what I was looking for. It's like the consistency of a Cliff Bar. That's what we're at. That's exactly what we're at. That's what I was looking for. Thank you, CH. Appreciate you. You're gonna start producing my show. Stand back here with a sign, with the big cardboard signs like they used to do for Julia Child. But yeah, it's like a Cliff Bar kind of overall. But yeah, I mean, the flavors there, I could have smashed them down. These seem to be a little more like the ones that I made thinner. Those seem, but I was kind of thinking like when you do chocolate chip cookies, how they like flatten out. You put the round on there, and then they flatten out as they go. That's what I thought was going to happen. So, You live and you learn. But overall, I mean, and they're not overly sweet. So if you're looking for like that chocolate chip, butterscotch, scotchy kind of sweetness, that's not what's in there. But you could do that. You could add raisins to it. You could put coconut in there. You could do some other things. I mean, I'm definitely going to try this recipe again for sure, and kind of add some other stuff to it. Dried cranberries, things like that. I haven't bought it for myself, but Tupelo honey is the best I've had. Really. Isn't that a song? I think that's a song. Somewhere they talk about Tupelo honey. I've been wanting to get the Mad Honey. I don't know if it's legal, but I've been wanting to get Mad Honey. I've been wanting to try that out too. Yeah, Van Morrison, 100%. Yeah, love Van Morrison. Into the Mystic, one of my favorite songs. I was just watching, there's another gal that I watch on YouTube, Heather White. She was just at the Van Morrison concert in Belfast. And she recorded, she was live streaming from Belfast where Van Morrison was playing. It was pretty cool. Miss Molasses Cookies. And you know, if I mentioned that, I think I mentioned it to begin with, but I'm going to give this a go with molasses instead of the honey or the maple syrup. I think that would be good. There's just so much you could do with this. This is honestly one of those recipes that I think the sky's the limit. You could just go, you could pretty much go crazy with it. 100%. But yeah, so how we doing on everybody? Yeah, everybody's still commenting and everything. But yeah, I mean, I'm definitely going to try coconut. I'm definitely going to go with the cranberries for sure. It's just one of those. It's more like a yeah, it's like I just can't get away from Cliff Bar. It just seems more like that, where you can kind of make it like that. Let me see. My mom and I used to love them with milk. Yeah, I like molasses cookies. Yeah, my grandma used to make molasses cookies. Those are really good. These are kind of like, I'd say that, you know, they're kind of like the rye bread of cookies. You know, if rye bread was a cookie, that's kind of what this is. It's real grain. It's got some grain to it, but definitely something to play around with. And I haven't tried. I am gonna try one with the. I'm gonna try one with the chips in it before I keep saying that it's whatever. Oh man. That's like that Quaker Oats maple and brown sugar with the butterscotch cookies. That's like or the butterscotch morsels. That's like maple brown sugar Quaker Oats. The stuff you eat for breakfast. I don't know, Fuzz. That guy is super busy. I mean, he has, I think it's somewhere around 25,000 pans, and he redoes them all with like 3 e-tanks. And I know that he said that he's not doing any, he's not doing spatulas right now for the same reason I'm not cooking, because of the heat here is so bad. But I've reached out. I've reached out to him and a couple other people, and they've said he hasn't confirmed anything, but other people have confirmed that they would be on. It's just when, you know. So I haven't forgotten about it. Yeah, I did see that. Yeah, he did show he showed the new shelves. Yeah, actually, absolutely. But yeah, it's just one of those things. I mean, when you're in this business, you're just busy, you know. I mean, I just do this twice a week, and this takes up a lot of my time. That, and you know, I'm trying to get my workspace in so I can catch up to a lot of these guys myself. 3 new shelves, hold about 10,000 each. Yeah, I mean, he's got what, 20,000 pieces or something like that. Well, you know, which is awesome. So, you know, congrats to him. But hey, I'm gonna jump off here. This has been we've had a huge audience tonight, which has been fantastic. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you guys showing up. If you haven't already, hit the like button on your way out. But yeah, thanks, Handsome Stone. I'm glad you could make it. I knew you said you were having trouble. Oh yeah, 100%. Mercy, my email's in the bio, so I can forward Val's on to you if that's okay. Yeah, Mercy B, thank you so much for showing up. Pat Z, thank you so much for the idea for this tonight. Yeah, and if you guys, I mean, you guys are so great about hitting like buttons and showing up every week. But hit, you know, if you guys are seeing the posts that I put up to announce the show, just hit a like on that real quick, so I know that people are actually seeing them. Bob the Builder, thank you so much. I know it's hard for you to get that. Lake Hickory guy, thank you so much. GH, thank you so much for being here. Pat Z, once again, thank you so much for this idea, because I was struggling. Larry Perkins, thank you. William Hurt. Yeah, thank you guys all, and everybody out there that's kind enough to show up every week, that sends me emails and that kind of stuff, that don't log into the chats. I really do appreciate. It's insane the amount of people that actually show up and watch this silly little channel in my kitchen a couple days, once or twice a week. Yeah, we'll see. We're gonna have to look, because I've got a lot of stuff going on. I was actually thinking about that. I'm hoping for a breakfast show. If it'll, yeah. So that's the other reason I was getting into it before I started reading everybody's names off. Yeah, check out the posts. See about the Sunday show and all that, and because I've got a lot of stuff going on this week and next week, so we'll have to. But I would imagine there will be. I say this every week. I don't know about a Thursday show, and then I always end up showing up for Thursday or Sunday shows. But yeah. But anyway, I'm gonna jump off here. Beagle says see you later, and I will see you next time in the comment section. All right, see you.